All right, welcome back to the channel, man. I'm so excited. Got some new information, new update to the LG C1 G1 OLED. Now it has the GeForce NOW beta as an option for you to try, and it's a couple of days old now. The update came out the 18th, 19th. Today's like the 21st, and so I've tested it out, played around with it a little bit, and come to some conclusions. I feel comfortable and give it some talking points about this thing. So we're gonna go ahead and get this set up right after this intro. All right, so for those of you that do not know what GeForce Now is, it is a platform that puts you in a position where you can stream video game content. So it's literally like a Netflix that encompasses you being able to connect to different user platforms such as like Steam, you got Epic, you got Ubisoft. There's a lot of these different launchers that you would use on PC to natively play these games. Well, GeForce Now, this gives you the opportunity to stream these games from those dedicated servers. What happens is there is a PC that you'll use specifically that you'll connect to via wireless connection, because it doesn't matter if you're wired or wireless. You're connecting to a PC somewhere that NVIDIA has put together, and those games will run there, right? So interesting. It's something that'll put you in a position where if you don't have a lot of games on your C1, your G1 OLED, you can use this platform to play games. Now, there are tons of free content for you to utilize. There are some esport games, there are some casual games, and then there's loads of content that you can buy into. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that you will have to log into the different launchers. So for example, Steam, you'll have to log into Epic, Ubisoft, all of these you will need to log into. So you already would want to have user accounts, passwords set up for these specific launchers, because when you try to load up certain games, Destiny 2, for example, runs directly off of Steam. So once you try to load Destiny 2 on the TV, what's going to happen is it's going to tell you that you need to log in. This is where having a keyboard and a mouse comes in to help you, okay? Because trying to type everything in, your username, your password, it's not going to be very fun. However, it's nice that this just plugs directly up to the OLED using one of the many HDMI or USB ports that you will have on the TV. Once you do that, you're all set to go. So let's go ahead and turn the TV on and we'll walk through setup. All right, so to get this thing going, the first thing you want to do is take your magic remote and hit the home button. The home button is going to take you essentially to your app list, put you in a position where you can download different apps, update your apps, and so forth. This application is called NVIDIA GeForce Now Beta. This is the third iteration of LG TVs that have had a partnership with NVIDIA, and so it is G-Sync compatible. So you have the ability to play games at high refresh rate through HDMI 2.1 and eliminate screen tearing. So once you've gotten this application downloaded, you're going to essentially log in. You have to have an account. I'm using a free account. There are paid accounts that you can get with this GeForce platform. Those accounts will put you in a position where you will have access to stronger PCs. As I said earlier in the video, you do connect directly to a PC remotely, and that's the way you're able to play games. The free account limits you to gameplay for 1 hour and 1 hour at a time. So 1 hour session, whereas some of the paid accounts will allow you, the premium upgrades, let me call it that, will allow you access to play games at up to an 8 hour session. So you get a full day of gaming, and that puts you in that position. Before I go forward with this, if you have the ability to connect your TV to a wire connection, I would recommend doing so. I do have plus gig internet connections in my house. I use a Linksys Velop combination, so my nodes are really strong. The connection is good in my house, but anytime I can get a wire connection, I do so, and so I'd recommend the same for you. So my setup has a node, and essentially what's going to have is an Ethernet switch so that my PS5, my Xbox Series X, my gaming PC, as well as my TV are all wired in. So my connection is going to be as good as can be. The user interface with this thing is pretty nice. The TV does have the ability to connect to Bluetooth pads. So I'm using an Xbox Series X controller. So it's got the 8-directional or 8-way D-pad there for those angles for fighting games. Got mine set up with just a rechargeable battery. So you go to the settings of your TV, and gamepad is going to be an option. You can connect this. You can use a PlayStation 4 controller. You can use a PlayStation 5 controller, or whatever your favorite Bluetooth controller is going to be. Once you have it connected, as you can see, if I move the controller, I'm using this. So it's just like having a console. Some of the categories of games you're going to have, the first you're going to target is probably going to be free to play. Here you're going to see a couple of esports games. You got Apex, you got Destiny, you got Counter-Strike. You got a lot of games there. And so, yeah, it just puts you in a position where you can try some of these different titles out. I'm going to go ahead and test Destiny just so I can kind of let you see what this is. So you get a summary when you open up the game. There's some screenshots you can take a look at. It tells you the rating, the manufacturer or the developer and publisher, and also the input support. So everything's going to support keyboard and mouse, so that's really cool. This is true PC play. Gamepad is going to be supported. Some games will tell you you're limited or restricted on what you can do with gamepads. So just be prepared for that. If there's a game you want to play, all of these games, like a lot of these esport games, are not going to support gamepad. So that's that. You're going to use this just like it was a traditional Xbox controller. And I'm going to leave the video rolling so you can just kind of get an idea of what this is like. I tried to run some games earlier. Like it's saying there's one gamer ahead of me. So looking for the next available rig. And it gives you the option to upgrade right there. It tells you get priority access. You get ray tracing on for games that do support it. If you go to the higher memberships, you do have access to 1440p at up to 120 frames per second. This free version is going to net you 1080p, 60 frames per second. So if you're quality whore and you're just like, you got to have the best quality, just keep in mind this is streaming. So, it's just an added feature to the TV. So the game is loading up, and I'll phase right back once I actually get some gameplay going. All right, so we're just a few seconds since the last video merger. Tells you your rig is ready. So again, it's connected to that dedicated computer for me. So that's a nice feature. You continue there. It takes you to the Steam big screen mode, big picture mode. If you're not familiar with Steam, it's a mode where it makes the interface of Steam look more like it's a console versus the desktop where the mouse and keyboard. And so once that goes up, for this particular game, they do have like an anti-cheat technology that needs to load up. And so once it starts doing this thing, then the game will actually come on. If I didn't say already, I do have this wired up. So the connection that I'm going to be looking at is going to be as good of a connection as I can get. So this game plays through Steam. So literally playing Steam right now. Things you'll notice is like when it comes up initially, it tells you to exit the desktop, to hit the escape key. So it's expecting you to be using a keyboard mouse. Again, it's a PC you're streaming it from. However, you can use a controller, so we're good there. So get this fired up and get to some gameplay. All right, we're loaded in 1080p, 60 frames per second. This is actually a review of this experience using this GeForce Now on this TV. So let me just tell you the first thing. This television does have a integrated game mode that does give you a frame rate counter. I've covered that in videos before. I'll tag that in somewhere. And normally to access that mode, you're going to hit the settings cog. Well, when you're using this, it's not an opportunity for you. So even if you try to go to Game Optimizer, the TV will tell you it only works with HDMI inputs. So yeah, so that's something that you're not going to have as an option. And so I also don't know what just happened there. This game just crashed. So that's going to be good for the review piece too. Not sure, just like it reset itself. So I'm going to get it loaded up again and jump back into gameplay. All right, so that's cool. So even though like the app had crashed, my place and my connection with the PC was still retained. So I didn't have to like boot the game up. So again, the game, you cannot track your frame rate. Actually, let me test something. See if I'm able to. So I tried to hold Alt and hit R, which is a default command on PC for you to be able to force an NVIDIA graphics card to show you like the frame rate and the statistics of what the game is actually doing. That does not appear to be an opportunity or an option using this. So there's no way for you to track your frame rate. It is locked 1080 60. That's pretty much what you're getting. So there's noticeable latency here. I'm not going to go through the motions of hooking up like a lag tester or anything like that. There are promises that if you upgrade to a premium membership that you will have less latency. You'll also be able to play with a PC that is using an RTX 3080 graphics card. As I did say, you will get more game time, more longer sessions, but I don't really think for people that are enthusiastic about gaming that this will be a platform that you will want to go to and play for hours and hours and hours on end. All right, so in the game, yeah, there's definitely some latency there, but I mean, the game is being played nonetheless. I mean, it looks like it's being streamed. So like seeing this game playing natively from like a console or a PC is going to look totally different. So this type of game, you definitely wouldn't want to play this like in a competitive mode or anything like that, which you do have access to. But I'm plugged in, I'm hardwired. And in a second, I'm going to show you some of the settings that you can force on this platform just to make sure that you're getting the best possible connection. I'm surprised I was able to kill that guy. Yeah, so let me phase back and we'll get to some settings. All right, so in the instance of exiting the game, it's going to be exactly as it would be on a PC. With Destiny, you're just going to exit and go to desktop, and that's what it did. You also do have a feature here where you're able to hit this library button. So you can hit plus there or minus. And what that'll do is it'll make it so that whatever title you are interested in browsing, it'll put it in your library. So it doesn't mean that you own it, because I put Alan Wake Remastered there. I did not purchase that on Epic, and that's the platform that it's used to stream on here. And so I can actually remove that because I don't own the game, so I won't be playing it. So you hit that negative and it takes it away. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I do own that through Ubisoft's platform, Uconnect. So that is another opportunity also. If you have the Ubisoft, the Uplay Plus membership, you do get access to a lot of games there too. So that's really good. So let's just take a look at some of the settings. All right, so once you get down to settings, you have a couple of options. So kind of the first one is going to tell you like whatever your GeForce NOW membership is. Gives you the opportunity to upgrade. I'm using the free one. The upgrade, again, gets you VIP access to gaming servers, so you don't have to really wait. Sometimes it said it was like 10 or 15 people in front of me. It does give you the RTX 3080 experience, and you get, full control of game settings. Like there's some settings that are going to be dumbed down because, again, this is playing at 1080p 60. When we go over to the right, streaming quality, this is big here. So you got balance as a preset, and then you have custom. When we go custom, you can go to details. Details is gonna pretty much put you in a position where you can change and modify the bit rate. I have unlimited data in my household, and so I'm not concerned about streaming anything. I use a Plex server. With my Plex server, sometimes the movies are streaming at 120 megabytes per second. Some of the 4K movies, it's ridiculous, but I don't worry about that type of stuff. So you can set this as high as 50 megabytes per second. Let me just tell you, playing Destiny, the default was like 8, something like that. In 50, I didn't see any difference. And when I was playing the game before I started recording this review versus now, resolution 1080p 16:9, 1280 by 720. So full HD or HD are going to be opportunities. There's an other, but I don't have access to that. If I had access to it, I would see 1440p at a higher frame rate. Again, 60 frames, 30 frames are going to be my options there for the frame rates. If I had the premium membership, 120 frames would be an opportunity for me there too. You can reset that. They have the in-game graphic settings. You can't mess with that unless you get an upgrade membership. So the free membership is just going to give you a taste of some of the things that you can do. And then when you go to the top, lastly, you got different connections. So far, I've just connected Epic Games. I'm not sure why my Ubisoft connection is not showing there, but I'm guessing it doesn't matter. Or I need to save the Ubisoft login because I did not do that, and that might be the reasons why. So that's pretty much the baseline of the settings and what you can expect when you're in there. And for the sake of video, to pair your controller, you're going to go to Settings, you're going to go to General, you're going to go down to Devices, you're going to go to External Devices, and this is where you can manage connecting a Bluetooth controller, universal remote control settings, things like that. What you're going to do is obviously Bluetooth controller, and you're going to use whichever method that is used for that controller to synchronize via Bluetooth. So for the Xbox controller, you would hit the sync button and the middle button right here at the same time. They'll blink. The TV will see it as an option, and then it'll connect. And then the TV does give you a little bit of information there. Could be time to read that. But just for the sake of this, if you are interested in trying and you don't know how, I wanted to make sure I had that there for you too. Give you some talking points to close this out. All right, so to close this thing out, man, just talk to you guys about how I feel about the GeForce NOW beta. I mean, it's a cool feature. I appreciate it. You know, you get a smart TV because you want features and functionality. And if you're a gamer without a console, it might be cool, but there's too much latency. You know, you can't use your game optimizer. So being able to see things like your frame rate, I've got Forza here playing, 4K max settings, ray tracing turned up. I actually have a PC that has an RTX 3080, so I've got no business streaming any of my gameplay. And this game does have a realistic frame rate counter, or this TV does at least, so it's able to track that. But yeah, it's a cool feature, man. If you guys got any questions about it, if I missed anything throughout the setup process or what have you, let me know, and I'll be sure to drop down in the comments and answer those questions. But it's not for me. It might be for you. And this game is beautiful. It's my dream car there. I'll let this rock a little bit. This game looks beautiful, running in full 4K. Ray tracing turned on. Till next time, Max Love.